How many of you are familiar with the book Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs? Yeah, great kids book. It just occurred to me like 30 seconds ago that my cover page should have been a picture of that book photoshopped to say Cloudy with a Chance of Data Loss. So if I only had a time machine. So we are SnowFlake.io. I'm Michael Riggi, working with Daniel. You'll meet in a moment. And we are creating offline backups of your online data. So the problem is that storing data in the cloud is very convenient and very easy. A lot of online services make this possible now. But the problem is that backing up that data is very difficult for companies to do and therefore rarely done. I'm talking about companies backing up their own data. As a result, each year, $50 billion is lost. American companies, I should specify, lose $50 billion a year as a result of data loss in the cloud. So this is the problem that we're trying to solve. I've got a horror story for you here. This is a recent story, August 3rd, so not too long ago. Matt Honan, he's a writer for Gizmodo magazine. He recently was hacked in a just horrific way. Started out with hackers calling up Amazon and social engineering their way into adding a credit card to the account and then calling back later and verifying that they are, quote unquote, Matt, by confirming with the credit card that they had given them just a few minutes earlier. From there, they were able to use the data that they learned about Matt from Amazon to hack into his Gmail account. And of course, when you get into someone's Gmail account, you have access to everything else in Google, their entire Google Apps account, which would include, in his case, many documents, Excel spreadsheets, his calendar, his address book. From there, once you have someone's Gmail account, it's very easy to go around and do a password reset request on every other account they have tied to Gmail. So they did a password reset request on his iCloud account. Once you have someone's iCloud account, if they have remote wipes set up to remotely erase all the content on their devices in case it's stolen, you're able to delete remotely all the content from your iPhone and your MacBook and your iPad. So in a matter of minutes, his Gmail account and all of its data was gone. His iCloud account was used to delete all the content off of all of his devices. And despite being a technology writer who should know better, he had no backups of any of this data. So thank you, Matt. Now, there are some other horror stories that we're going to skip through because I don't want to scare you too bad, otherwise you'd never use the internet again. So we're going to jump straight to our solution. SnowFlake.io allows customers to sign up and after they choose a monthly or quarterly or weekly rate or iteration, depending on their business needs, they're going to want more frequent or less frequent data backups. They enter credit card information, and from there, they are linked to a page hosted by Google where they are asked if they will give us permission, us being Snowflake, permission to back up their data. They say yes, and from that point, their first backup begins to occur. And at the interval specified by the customer, we will download their data from the cloud, and we will burn it to an archival DVD that is rated to last for 1,000 years. The important piece here being that it is offline, right? If someone, there are online backup services for your online data, but if you get hacked like Matt, your online backup service is just another domino to fall, right? You do a password reset request for your online backup service, and there goes your online backup. Right? The important part here is getting it offline, getting it onto a DVD, getting it onto a form, something that is not connected to the internet. So why now? Why this business now? Well, really, our business idea isn't that new. This is an existing model that's been around for a long time. You've probably seen trucks that look like these being driven around Tucson from a company called Iron Mountain. They've been around since 1950. They do many things, but one of the things they do is pick up boxes full of hard drives and tape backups from companies to physically remove them off-site. So small, medium, and large-sized businesses value their data. Traditional computing, you've got software on local computers, you've got servers running locally, and you want to protect that data by moving it physically off-site the way we want to physically move it out of the cloud. Combine that with the current trends of people moving their data into the cloud, and you get SnowFlake.io. Skipping ahead, the last 24 hours have been awesome for us. Better than expected. Skip ahead, skip ahead. We did a lot of coding, a lot of calling. I did not think things would go nearly as well as they did. We've got actually now 18, including a judge, people committed to paying for 3 months of service. one investor, and $7,000 raised, which, thank you. So this week-long trip just to visit my brother turned out to be a really great thing. This is Daniel, and we're happy to take your questions.
What's the cost?
What's the cost? So we're experimenting with the cost right now, but I'll tell you what the cost is at least going to be, because we got very little rejections, very few people complaining about the cost that we gave. $50 a month for small businesses between 1 and 5 Gmail accounts, and we're working on the pricing beyond that. But the pricing will be based off of the amount of data that needs to be backed up and also the frequency.
Who gets the magic snowflake?
Who gets the, you mean like snowflake number 1? Is that the magic snowflake?
No. Who gets the actual disk?
Oh, the actual disk. I'm sorry.
Or do you store it, or do you?
So for our MVP, the customer's going to get the magic snowflake. So we're going to mail it to them, and then they can store it in a filing cabinet, safe deposit box, however they'd like. Eventually, though, as soon as possible, we'd like to offer a service where we hold on to that for them. To simplify the entire process, give them the option. Some people are going to feel most comfortable holding on, physically holding on to their data. Others are going to prefer us to do it for them. They want the combination of the simplicity with the guarantee that it's out of the cloud and therefore safe.
What's your go-to-market strategy? How are you going to populate the site? Who are you going to target, and how?
How are we going to target? Well, in the beginning, the customers that we're going to begin backing up tomorrow, they range in a lot of different industries. I mean, we started just calling friends and friends of friends that run small businesses. We've got a construction company. We've got a massage therapy company. We have an incubator. So we're right now growing just sort of organically, word of mouth, as a form of market research. A market research that we get paid for, with beta testers that are willing to pay us to be the early adopters, and we're going to learn from them and see where they would like us to take the company.
You've changed the cost side of the equation significantly just by having the disk, having to mail them.
Sure.
All that. How do you incorporate that into your pricing and sort of look at it so that you make actually a return on the investment?
Sure. So there's definitely an additional cost to having to buy the DVDs, especially the archival DVDs, which are our cost right now in low bulk would be $5 per DVD plus shipping costs. But actually those would still be less than the cost of the bandwidth fees we calculated. That's probably not a good way to answer an investor's question. Well, you think that's a problem? Here's a worse problem. You think that's expensive? No. So we factor that into the cost, and I think that we can convince the customers that it's worth it. I mean, looking at Matt's story, what's the use of your data being backed up from one portion of the cloud to another portion of the cloud when a hacker could, it's just like I said, another domino to fall.
There's been a lot of businesses, maybe not exactly like this, but Connected, which was sold to Iron Mountain, took them into the data space. Kryptonite went public in the last, year. Usually when you back up to the cloud, it gets mirrored right away. So, but they have pretty good security between the mirroring. I'm not sure. Also, it's easier to sell this. The Kryptonite they're not making money yet, I think. The Kryptonite is doing retail, but there's been a number of companies that have gone to the corporations because historically corporations didn't back up PCs. And have you thought about the corporate side of this?
Meaning just going after larger businesses? We would definitely love to, larger businesses, more money, but looking at where we're starting from, coming out of Startup Weekend, it's a lot easier to gain the trust of a smaller business. And we view that as a way to, begin and then grow from there.
The other issue here, I think you've done a lot in a short period of time. That's impressive. I do think the barrier to entry here, like we've had, this has been a problem all day long, but there's not much of a barrier to entry here.
Well, I mean, the fact that I was able to build some code over the weekend that was able to download the first Gmail backup for myself, I guess I can't lie to you and say that huge barrier to entry that I overcame in a day. But we don't see any other companies putting the focus on the offline part of it. So our hope is to quickly grow in size, and by the time people realize that it's the way to back up the cloud, that we'll be maybe the ones buying them before they're the ones buying us. So, yeah, thank you.
One last question.
So this is more like a comment to a lot of the groups. The fact that they say that no one's done this before, like Facebook, I asked earlier, and other organizations, that might give a clue. The fact that these large multi-billion-dollar organizations aren't doing it might be a clue as to the marketability. So I'm not saying you're just bad. I'm not saying the other sport inception is bad. I'm just saying think about why they're not doing it, and is there a reason why they're not doing it?
I think I'll answer that. My guess is that a lot of entrepreneurs, and at least the ones that I've met, very talented, very smart, they're afraid of real-world physical things. They like the idea of software, but as soon as it comes out into a physical thing, a piece of plastic that I could break and shatter my eye with, I mean, they want to stay away from the real world. They're afraid of the logistics. They're afraid of taking on the challenges of distribution, manufacturing, whatever it may be. And to be honest, I'll challenge you, investors. I think a lot of investors are also, they'd prefer to just stick to software only, and they're afraid of anything that comes out into the real world. At least that's been my experience. And I know that's not the case 100% across the board, but I would say it's more challenging than just a software play, but definitely potentially more rewarding as a result.
Good job. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.